Okay, let's try and unpack this. Because, well, just when you think you've got a handle on AI, bam, something new drops and it feels like the whole landscape just shifted again.
Yeah, exactly. And that something is what we're diving into today. OpenAI's ChatGPT-5. It's powered by the new GPT-5 model, and honestly, it feels like a really significant milestone.
Right, a big one. Launched August 7th, 2025. OpenAI is calling it their, quote, most advanced model to date. And they're promising, pretty substantial improvements, speed, accuracy, usefulness, across writing, programming, even health stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's landing right in the middle of that intense competition, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got Google's Gemini, Anthropic's Claude.
Absolutely. So our mission today really is to break down what makes ChatGPT-5 tick. We want to look at its main features, see how it stacks up against, say, GPT-4, explore what it means for you, for businesses, for developers, and crucially touch on the challenges and the ethical side of things too, because that's important.
Yeah, definitely. So we're aiming to give you a clear, detailed picture of what it can do, compare it properly, and really dig into things like security, how easy it is for everyone to access, and, well, what happens when it goes mainstream.
And maybe, if we zoom out a bit, look at the bigger picture. Think about how this could actually change your daily routines, business workflows, and nudge us closer to that idea of artificial general intelligence, AGI.
Okay, so the backstory. Sam Altman, OpenAI CEO, he basically confirmed it was coming summer 2025, way back in June. So the anticipation was definitely building.
It really was.
And you can see how this launch is OpenAI responding to this, well, this huge demand for AI tools that are just better,
Yeah.
more precise, more versatile, especially the market being so competitive now.
Right. And OpenAI's vision here, it's ambitious. They're not shy about it. They see GPT-5 as a major step towards AGI, which, just to remind everyone, is that idea of an AI that can perform most intellectual tasks a human can, autonomously.
That's the dream, I guess. And practically speaking, for you listening, accessibility is key. They rolled it out immediately for all ChatGPT users. Free, plus, Pro, team plans, everyone got it. Enterprise and Edu users, they're getting it the following week, apparently.
And for any developers listening in, this is important. It's also out via their API. Comes in 3 flavors, GPT-5, GPT-5 Mini, and GPT-5 Nano, which gives developers that flexibility, based on performance needs, cost, latency. Choices are good.
Okay, now let's get into the really interesting stuff. The core innovations. The headline seems to be performance, significantly improved performance. They're saying faster, more precise, and less prone to making stuff up. The hallucination.
Fewer hallucinations is a big claim.
Yeah. And Sam Altman used this analogy that I thought was quite vivid. He compared using GPT-5 to going from an old low-res iPhone screen to a Retina display. That's sharp. That's quite a statement, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's actually making that kind of leap possible?
That's a great question. And it really comes down to the foundation, this new O3 architecture. Now, that's not just marketing speak. It seems to represent a pretty fundamental change in how the AI processes information. It's supposedly moving beyond just finding patterns to, well, something closer to actual multi-step logical deduction.
Okay.
The idea is it can process and connect information way more efficiently, maybe a bit closer to how our brains tackle complex problems. And this lets it handle tasks that, frankly, tripped up older models, complex logic puzzles, planning out a whole project.
Right.
And the internal test results seem to back this up. They're saying GPT-5 beat models like Claude 4 Opus and Gemini 2.5 Pro on lateral reasoning tests, which basically means creative problem solving, connecting dots between ideas that aren't obviously linked. That's a step towards real intelligence, isn't it?
Wow, okay. And it's not just text, right? The multimodal stuff.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be better with images, graphics, diagrams, giving better answers when you show it something visual.
Exactly. Big improvements there, leading to, more accurate responses when visuals are involved. Though it's worth noting, voice and video capabilities, they aren't there at launch. Expected later on, though.
Okay.
And another thing for the user experience is this unification of models. Remember how you used to have to pick, like, GPT-4o or whatever?
Yeah, sometimes it was confusing.
Right. So now GPT-5 apparently uses a real-time router. Think of it like a smart traffic cop. It automatically figures out if your question needs the heavy-duty reasoning model, a simpler one, or the mini version based on how complex it is.
So it just picks the best tool for the job behind the scenes.
Precisely. It should make using it much simpler. No more manual model selection guesswork.
Okay, that sounds genuinely useful. All right, let's talk specifics.
Mm-hmm.
Where does this power actually make a difference day to day? Programming, for instance. They're calling it OpenAI's most powerful coding model. Big words. And they're citing benchmarks. SWE bench verified at 74.9%. And just so people know, the benchmark tests fixing real bugs in existing software. An ADER polyglot at 88%, which is about handling multiple programming languages well.
Yeah, those are impressive numbers in the coding world.
Apparently, it can generate whole web apps from just simple text prompts.
Wow.
And it's better at UI design, debugging code. That sounds like a massive time saver for developers.
Oh, absolutely. More than just a time saver, it's like a productivity multiplier. An AI that can genuinely understand and fix complex code or switch between languages smoothly, that's a seriously valuable assistant for software folks.
And it's not only code, right? Writing, too. Creative writing, professional stuff. It supposedly handles complex things like, I don't know, free verse poetry or detailed technical reports with higher precision. It sounds like it just gets nuanced better.
That's the idea, moving beyond just stringing words together to really grasping the context, the style needed, which is key for both, creative work and clear professional communication.
And then health. They mentioned it's their most advanced model for health questions. More precise, context-aware answers. And this is crucial. It's not a doctor, right? We need to keep saying that.
Absolutely essential reminder. It's a tool, not a replacement for professional medical advice. But beyond those specific skills, there are two other areas: personalization and security. These are pretty interesting. Personalization lets you pick from different personalities: cynic, robot, listener, nerd, plus the default.
Ah, okay. So you can change the tone, make it sound like a nerd.
Apparently so. Adapt the response style to whatever you prefer or need for a task. And on security, they seem to have really doubled down. They're talking over 5,000 hours of testing specifically to cut down on risks like hallucinations or inappropriate outputs.
That's a lot of testing.
It is. Plus, they've introduced something called safe completions. This means the model will actually tell you why it can't answer certain questions if the request bumps up against its safety limits, which is good for transparency.
That does sound good. And what about getting access to it? Accessibility, you see, it says for all users, but there's a catch for free users.
Yeah, so everyone gets it, which is great, but free users have a usage cap. Hit the limit and you'll switch over to a mini version automatically. If you're on a paid plan plus Pro team, you get higher usage limits and access to something called GPT-5 Pro.
Okay, makes sense. And it's getting plugged into Microsoft stuff too, like Copilot.
Correct. Integration with Microsoft 365 Copilot and Azure AI Foundry, that really broadens its reach, especially in the business world.
So putting it all together, how does it actually compare, head to head with what came before?
Well, compared to its predecessors, GPT-4 and GPT-4o, the claim is clear. GPT-5 surpasses them. Speed, precision, and especially that reasoning ability we talked about. Altman's comment about GPT-4 looking miserable next to GPT-5, well, it really underscores how big a jump they think this is.
Yeah, miserable is strong language in tech.
It is. And it translates to fewer hallucinations, much better follow-through on complex multi-part instructions.
Right. And you mentioned reasoning. Unlike GPT 4.5, which was more about unsupervised learning, GPT-5 blends that with this advanced reasoning capability.
Exactly. It makes it more robust. And yeah, back to that unified interface, getting rid of the need to manually pick models, that's a definite improvement for usability.
So what does that confidence, that miserable comment, signal to the rest of the market? The Googles, the Anthropics?
Oh, it's a direct challenge, no question. The launch of GPT-5 puts OpenAI right back at the forefront, intensifying that competition. You've got Grok from xAI, Claude from Anthropic, Gemini from Google. This just turns up the heat in the race for AI dominance.
Okay, so bringing it back to the listener, what does all this tech actually mean for you? Sounds like ChatGPT-5 offers a smoother, more personalized experience overall. Probably great for daily productivity, writing emails, learning languages, coding help, those health queries we mentioned.
Definitely. Its ability to handle more complex requests and just respond more naturally makes it a potentially really valuable tool for everyday tasks.
And for businesses and developers.
Big implications there, too. For businesses, plugging it into tools like Google Drive, SharePoint, Microsoft 365 Copilot, it opens doors for optimizing workflows, automating tasks, generating reports. Early reports from companies suggest promising results on accuracy and quality.
And for developers.
That API availability in 3 sizes is key. It gives them the flexibility to build all sorts of custom applications, from software development tools to automating really complex workflows. Lots of potential.
It sounds incredibly capable, almost transformative, but no technology is perfect, right?
Right.
What are the roadblocks, the challenges GPT-5 is facing? I know Sam Altman himself mentioned it can't learn continuously. That seems like a big hurdle for true AGI.
That's a huge one, yes. The lack of continuous learning is a fundamental limitation right now. And then there are the more immediate practical hurdles, like just handling the demand. OpenAI even warned about potential capacity problems, setbacks during the launch because they expected so many people to jump on.
Yeah, I bet.
And then there's the money side. OpenAI still isn't profitable. Training and running these massive models like GPT-5 costs an absolute fortune. So the question of long-term economic sustainability is definitely there.
Right. Can they keep funding this level of advancement?
It's a valid question. And we're even seeing competitive friction play out directly, like Anthropic reportedly revoking OpenAI's API access because of terms of service issues. That's a tangible sign of the tension.
Wow, okay, so operational challenges, financial pressures,
Yeah.
and then there's the human side. The fact that it's so human-like in its responses, that brings up those concerns people talk about, doesn't it? Things like people forming weirdly intense parasocial relationships with the AI,
Okay.
or the risks of using it in sensitive areas like mental health support, perhaps inappropriately.
Precisely. These aren't trivial concerns. The more human-like it becomes, the more complex these ethical questions get. And Altman himself, again, has publicly flagged the lack of clear regulations, specifically around protecting user confidentiality when interacting with AI.
Sort of regulatory gap there, too.
A significant one. It needs addressing as these AIs weave deeper into our lives.
Okay, so looking down the road, OpenAI needs to make sure the servers don't crash, figure out privacy rules, keep innovating faster than the competition, and somehow balance making it accessible with actually making money. That's a lot.
It is a lot. But to wrap up, ChatGPT-5, running on GPT-5, it undeniably represents a major leap forward in conversational AI. It's a seriously powerful tool. The improvements in speed, accuracy, versatility, they're impressive. It definitely cements OpenAI's position as a top competitor.
Yeah, it definitely boosts the user experience. And it pushes forward their big mission, that journey towards AGI. The idea it can act like a doctorate-level expert in different fields. That's a significant step, conceptually at least.
It is. However, those challenges remain very real. The continuous learning problem, the ethical minefield, the intense competitive pressure. OpenAI has a lot to navigate to stay ahead and manage this, well, audacious move towards an AI-centric future.
So as more and more people start using ChatGPT-5, its real impact on your work, your creativity, maybe even how you make decisions, it's going to be fascinating to watch. What's the one thing about this leap that really stands out to you? And how do you see it changing your world next?